Hey, what is going on, guys? In this video today, we're going to be discussing the best custom binds for controller Fortnite players. There's actually a pretty major problem with practically every video out there that shows custom controller binds. And that's the fact that there are basically three totally different types of controller Fortnite players. There are non-claw, non-paddle players, non-claw players who do use paddles, and then you have players who play claw but don't use paddles. So in this video, I'm going to share what in my opinion are the best custom binds for all three of the different ways that you can play Fortnite with a controller. We're mainly going to be sticking to discussing the important binds like edit, switch mode, reset edit, and confirm edit, just to name a few. Because at the end of the day, pulling out your map with the select button versus left on the D-pad really doesn't matter much at all. And as long as I don't forget, I'll put a graphic on the screen right now that shows the timestamps for the three different sections of custom binds. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, so the first type of binds that we're going to cover is for the non-claw players that don't use paddles, so you're just using the basic controller in the most typical way. So one thing that's super important for non-claw, non-paddle players is the Fortnite setting known as Sprint by default. If you're a non-claw, non-paddle player that doesn't use Sprint by default, you're putting yourself at a huge disadvantage, because since you have to press down on L3/left stick every time you want to sprint, you can't bind any other action to that button. And since you don't have paddles, being able to bind things to L3/left stick is actually super important. So I would really recommend getting used to Sprint by default, which really isn't all that difficult. So now that we got that out of the way, here's the first set of binds for non-claw, non-paddle players that I would strongly recommend. So on the first page, it starts off with edit being clicking down on L3/left thumbstick, which as I mentioned earlier, is something that's only possible if you play with Sprint by default on. Then you have switch mode as B/circle, which I believe is always the best option for it since it's what the vast majority of players are used to. And then the less important binds are toggle pickaxe as Y/triangle, inventory as up on the D-pad, map as the select button, which I guess would be touchpad on PS4, crouch as right stick, and then repair as right on the D-pad. If you missed my video about that, you want to use the bind crouch and not crouch/repair, because doing that makes it much quicker and easier to crouch peek, so that's why crouch and repair are separated here. Now we move into the edit section of these binds. So once you've started your edit, RT/R2 is used to select the squares, and that's pretty standard, so I don't see any reason why you'd really ever change that. However, reset edit is now on LT/L2 and confirm edit is now on RB/R1. What I really like about these binds is that when you're editing, your fingers barely move from their default positions. If you play non-claw, non-scuff, your four fingers will usually be sitting on the buttons LT/L2, RT/R2, right stick/R3, and left stick/L3. Throughout the entire editing process, with these binds, the only time any of your fingers will move off those default buttons is when you need to confirm your edit, so you'll move from RT/R2 to RB/R1, and those buttons are as close together as two buttons can possibly be. Plus, as I discussed in my video a few days ago regarding double edit binds, since edit and confirm are bound to two different buttons here, you'll be able to edit much faster compared to if edit and confirm edit were both bound to the same button. Now, you can still have binds pretty similar to this even if you don't use Sprint by default. What you do is move edit from left stick to Y/triangle, and then move pull out your pickaxe to right on the D-pad. Other than that, everything else would be almost exactly the same. However, editing with Y is definitely worse than editing with left stick. So now let's move on to the binds for non-claw players that use paddles. Whether those paddles are Scuff, Xbox Elite, or anything else, it really doesn't matter. Now, what makes determining the best binds for non-claw paddle players so difficult is that not everybody uses the same amount of paddles. So what I'm going to do is share a set of binds for 1 paddle players and then another set of binds for 2 paddle players, since the vast majority of people use 2 paddles or less. And like I've mentioned in the other section, these binds are only possible if you have the setting Sprint by default set to on, which I would strongly recommend using if you don't already. So starting off with the 1 paddle binds, here's what we have. Edit is bound to left stick /L3, switch mode is bound to B/circle, and jump is bound to A/X, which is the button that you'll program to your single paddle. So you'll actually jump by pressing your paddle and not the A/X button. Then the less important binds are toggle pickaxe as Y/triangle, inventory is up on the D-pad, map is the select button, which would probably be touchpad on PS4, crouch is right stick, and then repair is right on the D-pad. And you want to use the bind crouch and not crouch/repair because crouch only makes it quicker and easier to crouch peek. Now we move into the editing section of these binds. So after you've pressed left stick to start the edit, RT/R2 is used to select the edit squares, reset edit is on LT/L2, and confirm edit is on RB/R1. These binds are awesome because you'll barely be moving your fingers from their default positions. If you don't play claw, your 4 fingers will normally be sitting on the buttons LT/L2, RT/R2, right stick/R3, and left stick/L3. With these binds, the only time any of your fingers will move off those default buttons while editing is when you need to confirm your edit, so you'll only need to move from RT/R2 to RB/R1, and those buttons are obviously ridiculously close together. Plus, if you didn't see my video from a few days ago that discussed double edit binds, since edit and confirm edit are bound to 2 different buttons with this layout, you'll be able to edit much faster compared to if edit and confirm edit were instead bound to the same button. Now, if you have 2 paddles, I would recommend the same exact binds, but you'll program your second paddle to be RB/R1, which in this layout is confirm edit. Remember how I just said with these binds, the only time you'll move your fingers while editing is when you confirm the edit, moving your finger from RT/R2 to RB/R1? Well, even though that's a really small movement, if you program one of your paddles to be RB/R1, you can eliminate that movement, and now you'll have none. Next up, we have the binds for claw players that play on a normal controller. And just like in the other 2 sections, you're going to need to have sprint by default on for these binds to work. So it starts with edit as Y/triangle, which is because that's one of the most comfortable buttons for claw players to hit. Then you have switch mode as left stick/L3 and pickaxe as B/circle. You could flip those if you really want, but I've heard that B/circle can be a bit uncomfortable to press if you play claw, so if that's truly the case, you'd rather have it bound to something less important, like pulling out your pickaxe. Then you want to have the more regular stuff like jump bound to A/X, inventory as up on the D-pad, crouch as right stick/R3, you guys can see it all here. Now, moving into editing, so once you've initiated the edit by pressing Y/triangle, your button to select the squares while editing is going to be RT/R2, which is obviously pretty standard. Then your button to reset the edit is LT/L2, and your button to confirm the edit is LB/L1. For all the other binds in this video, I've used RB/R1 as confirm, but according to the claw players I know, LB/L1 just feels a bit more comfortable and easier to do. These binds in general should feel really comfortable for claw players to use, and they don't involve much movement of your fingers while editing, which is a major positive. When editing, you don't need to take your finger off of right stick /R3, which is really important for aiming, and that should be one of your main goals with any custom binds you use. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you watched the entire thing, be sure to let me know with a comment down in the comment section below. I want to know, which type of controller Fortnite player are you? Non-claw, non-paddle, non-claw with paddles, or do you play claw? Be sure to leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications, do whatever the heck you want, and I will catch you guys next time.